It's Speak It Thursday, and it's your girl Shuli. I am back for another conversation. We meet here every Thursday, once in a while, to have some conversations with some really dope people, and this show is no different. What I realize, my friend group is very unique, and I feel like anything that you want to think of that a person can do, I just might know somebody who does it or know someone who knows someone who does it. And this is no different. Of course, we are talking so much about travel and going to places unknown, but we haven't talked about van life. Van life has been around for a while, but I feel like it has ramped up. Not I feel like we know that it's ramped up since the pandemic. People are getting sprinter vans or RVs and they're hitting the road with their families. Some people are doing it solo, but we haven't talked about the sisters out here doing this van life, living their best life. So we're going to talk about it tonight. Let's learn what it takes. And I did a poll, and some people said, hell no, they can't do it. Some people are like, yep, van me. And I was kind of like teeter tottering at one point in life. And I ultimately settled on hell no, give me my creature comforts because I know how I'm set up. I don't know how you're set up, but these ladies are set up for the van life. So let's talk about it. I'll introduce them briefly and then I'll bring them in because I want them to share their own stories. They're each of them, they're near and dear to me. So first up, we have Pat Ard. She is a retiree, or we should say an entrepreneur. She retired from the corporate sector and she owns her own interior design business. And she's really passionate about sustainable living through small space design. And she stepped into van life by converting an RV. And then we have Victoria Cumberbatch. I met her during my travels, my remote year travels. She is a community consultant, if you will. She's been a group leaders, community leaders, all things community. That's her thing. She loves Enneagrams and she is all about this van life. So she's somewhat a maven. That's what she calls herself. She's a maven out here in these streets, and she has her just her language and her way, and her energy is just really, really awesome. She loves drinking coffee, acquiring tattoos, and reading historical fiction. And she is a blogger. You can check her out at Adventures of V. And then we have Heather Wilson, being Heather Renee. She is now a travel blogger, and she came from the corporate space as well. And let me just read. I'm talking from what I know, but I want you to just to have some idea. She said that she is traveling around the U.S. in her self-converted Chevy Express van while designing mobile apps and creating custom leather bags and accessories. So we're going to learn all about how her joys of van life and the things that she's doing. She travels with her van and her cat Oliver. So we're going to bring these ladies up, let them share their own stories. Without further ado, you know what to do. When they come and sit on this virtual Speak It couch, you give them applause and love. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
What's up? So thank you again for coming. And of course, I have to ask in front of the peoples, how y'all doing out here in these van streets?
It's okay. It's good right now.
It's good
It's
right
okay. Gotta get better.
It's really empty. Yeah.
now. Okay, that's interesting. Everybody is smiling here. And so we're going to get into it. And I gave, that little formal intro, but I really want you all to just jump right in and share your story. And the biggest question people want to know is, girl, why van life? So we're going to go
Why
round robin. Yeah, why not? Okay, Pat, why for you?
For me, it was a business decision. It was a no-brainer in terms of, was I going to stay in a brick and mortar and lose my business or try to come up with something creative? So it happened for me as a result of trying to make sure that I could continue my business profile and not go out of business because a building was going to be sold from under me. So the idea was to go mobile to be able to stay in business.
And what was your business? Or what is your
I'm
business?
an interior designer. I own BA Designs here in Houston. But I'm real passionate about small space living because I think we have to get to the place where our lives are sustainable in order to make it through the next coming 20, 30, 40 years. And we got to get back to what we were taught, how to make it in hard times. And I think we've lost that because we've got so much comfort, and comfort will rob you of your vision.
That's a whole word right there.
Yeah.
Comfort will rob you of your whole vision. So, all right, who's up next, ladies? What's your why?
I'll go. So I started van life last year because we know the pandemic was going on, but I love to travel around. I lived in other countries, and that was my plan, was to, relocate and be somewhere else. But unfortunately, got stuck here when everything started shutting down, but still had that drive to want to travel around. So I'm like, well, I haven't been to everywhere in the U.S. I had been actually looking at van life for a while. I love to do creative projects and things like that. So I'm like, well, hey, I think I can maybe get me a van and build that out, and then I can continue to travel and kind of do what I want to do, move around. So that's what I did. I found a van, lucked out on a van actually, started that process and just did a lot of research on YouTube and kind of seeing what everyone else was doing. Was comfortable with that I could do it and I could do it my way. That was really important too, because I know that there are different things that you see on social media on how van life is portrayed, and it's not exactly what you see there. There's other things that go into it, and it's also not only one way to do it. So not only do I travel around in the van, I stay in nice hotels along the way. If I feel like it, I will not. If I'm not comfortable, I don't want to be in the van. I'll go get a hotel. So that was the biggest thing, though, was just to be able to travel while we were in lockdown and still, kind of see this world, see this country. It's a lot more out there than I had seen before.
That's good. I've seen you going to baseball games, following you. I'm like, oh, I didn't know Heather was a baseball fan.
Yes.
Americana.
My nephew is right in my footsteps too. He loves it more than me. So
I love that.
Oh, wow.
That's cool. What about you, Vicasita?
Vicasita. Okay, so I guess if we try to hone it down, there's two main things that were at work. One is I'm a bit of an alternative traveler. I'm into backpacking, Airbnb, hostling, whatever goes. Like, sure, I'll stay in a resort here. Then I'm going to be like in a dorm room in a hostel the next second. Who knows? Anything's possible. Did remote year, blah, blah, blah. So when I got home from remote year, I was like, let me make a little web series, LOL at me. Did that. Then I got bored again. And I thought, now it may be time to really look for a van, because I'd been wanting to do van life for like maybe 4 or 5 years by 2018. So I had known about it and wanted to do something different and kind of wild. And so that was one. It was just like, I want to do this thing and see what happens. Can I do it? And then the second aspect is I'm a bit of a glutton for introspection. So I knew that something like this would take away all my conveniences. And I am an only child, and I do have only child syndrome, and I am in America, and I am an American. So I do like things. And I like things, and I also lived in New York for a minute. So like, I like things that I can get at 24/7. Whenever I want it, it's there for the taking. And that is not the case in a van. So it has been hard. Started May 17th of this year with my man. He's in the back there gaming with his headphones on. LOL. Maybe I should put my light on.
Hey, man.
Right, he's over there. I'm plugged in, so he don't know what's going on. That's also a thing. Being with another wasn't the original plan, is the plan now. Here's where we are. So
what is that like? Since we're here,
What is that
like? You need to whisper into the headphones.
It is tumultuous, high highs, low lows. It is a lot to be with another person in such a tiny space. Also, we're in a larger van than other vans, so we're not in like a Mercedes Sprinter size. We're more like in a U-Haul box truck size. You can like envision. So we can both stand. He's 6'5", 5'10". So like being able to stand was a big deal. But we also worked together and started working together in van life as that also began. So that takes things up a notch. I think overall, what happens is you learn a ton about yourself, and then you also have the mirror of being in a relationship, which is just more learning. So it's a lot. But it's nice to have someone there on these cold Minnesota nights.
Good. And then too, maybe from the safety factor, do you feel a little more secure than you think you might have felt otherwise, or?
No, not to say that I don't think he would protect me, but you know, we park on location of our job sites. We work outside, and we actually were approached by law enforcement a few nights ago around midnight, and it was jarring. I went out there braless and shoeless because what is going on? And I anticipated what you anticipate being in Minneapolis, right? And it was not any of those things. And by the end of the conversation, honestly, the cops were just like, can we look in there or not? Like, we want to know what's going on. And I just feel like whether D was there or not, I'd have handled it. Maybe it's because I come from a cop father and a lot of cops in my family that I'm like, it will be fine. And anything else, vandalism and so on, I don't know. I just feel like if you believe that goodness will come to you, that's what will come.
Yeah,
That's good
agreed.
stuff.
I know Pat feels me.
Agreed.
Okay. So yeah, since we're talking about this, you know, I have a way that a conversation can go, but I stay open. So let's get into that. So since we're on the safety conversation, Pat, you agree, let's talk about how you got into it, and yeah, any safety challenges with you, because you agreed.
Well, I agree with her that if you keep yourself open for good things and you are aware of your surroundings and you're not looking for that,
Right.
you know, basically you're going to get good. Now, you do have some situations, people are curious, so they will come up to your van if they think somebody is in it.
Oh, yes.
Or they will, because I didn't start out in this RV. I did this RV as I stealth camped. Okay, so I did have a couple of situations, but they were not, I was not terrified by them. I was not at all challenged by the fact that I was a woman alone, still camping. I wasn't challenged by them because I expected good. So pretty much, I think people were more terrified of me than they were because I'm kind of loud and brash anyway, in some respects, and I am very much that way when I have to deal with people. So I do agree with her. If you're expecting good, you're going to get it.
Okay, Heather, what about you? How are you feeling out there?
I think,
Solo band.
yeah, doing a lot of I do a lot of research, just kind of making sure that I'm gonna put myself in a good situation. But like these two ladies said, if you have that positive thinking, then you're not gonna bring that on. I've had some situations where I'm like, people have approached me, and it's turned into a great conversation. You know, just basically just talk and be open. I don't usually give out like ahead of time where I'm going to be and that kind of thing, just to keep that safe and only amongst family. But then also having a backup plan inside the van in case anything does go down, you know. We're ready. Yeah, don't come inside.
Right. No, that's a great point, Heather, because like this door goes into the rest of where we live, and this was a major component. This is like a safety concern because there are a lot of vans that have a wall here, and you have to go out of the back to get to the front to make a quick getaway. Right. And that's not it. So this is a door that locks on either side, which is, I think, imperative, especially if you would be traveling alone. And looking up crime before you go to a certain region, looking at the Google Earth view of where you're going to park. That's what I do. I look at because I'm in cities a lot, I think, like Pat. So those are some important.
That's a great point. That's a great point. If I may add to what she said, is that because I am stationary, I am not moving around like they are, and I was not at the time that I was there. I just happened to come across a good parking situation that was an arrangement where I literally was parked inside a dedicated private parking area. So it saved me from that nerve of where I'm going to park every night. So I didn't have that challenge. And because I'm in the city and I had that arrangement, it literally felt like I lived where I was parked.
That's striking gold. That's the gold standard right there.
That was like, that made it so much easier for me to be able to rest, because at some point when you first start, you're nervous in yourself, but because I had that, it took the challenge away.
I've also seen a couple of resources pop up recently too for safe parking spaces.
Yeah.
When I was in the LA area, a lady approached me. She was with a nonprofit that was with Park Safe LA, and they give you a place to park, and there's security that will patrol the lot as well. So that resource is out there. It doesn't cost you anything. They even help you get any other type of resources.
That is awesome.
So that is amazing that they have those kind of resources out.
Is it Park Safe everywhere, or is there a website or something?
There is a website specifically for Park Safe LA, but I believe they do have a couple of different groups across the country. And there's another group that's, I can't remember the name of it now. Of course, I blank out, but it's a Facebook group where the ladies will, look out for each other and say where they are, or where they're going, and where they go.
Okay, good stuff. Justin Lamont Martin is hilarious. He says, I think I want to try this, but I'm going to try this in a Dodge Charger. This is kind of smart.
Yeah.
Hey, we've seen people do it in Prius, so if he can do this Dodge Charger, more power to him.
There you go. So if somebody wanted to do this, I mean, in a car, is it possible? I mean, it's van life, but is it possible? Do you think yeah. What would be those challenges trying to do that?
Oh, well, it's possible, but it's challenging. I wouldn't.
I would do the research first. You really got to want to do it or really try it. And I think the key is do you have the mentality to do it? It's not so much can it be done. It absolutely can be done, but can you survive doing it is more the question.
What kind of personality does it take? Because Pat, you and I talked about it, and I kind of decided that I didn't have the personality. So can we talk about it? Because you ladies are definitely very unique and adventurous, but I think it takes more than just that to even start this. What do you think? Personality?
I think you got to be somewhat adventurous, and you can't be so stuck on things or what people think or say. You got to have some adventure in your spirit. You almost got to be intrepid in some ways, meaning you're fearless and you have the courage to do it. But I think you have to have more of a reason why you're going to do it. And my reason for why kept me from being fearful, because I was more afraid of failing in my business than I ever was of being challenged by stealth camping. Because I am 60. So I have to make a way for my retirement. I was more afraid of not being able to retire, not being able to build a family living situation if I remained in the position that I was in. So I was more fearful of that than I was of stealth camping.
That's good. Okay.
I think for like traits or characteristics or what have you, high on the list has to be learning how to be an accepting and adaptable person. Like, you got to accept where you're at in this moment. If you notice that on your dashboard that light is going off and you live in this thing that your light's going off, you can't just have it sitting in your driveway for a few weeks and you'll get to it. You got to get to that now. Right. When you were on your way to get groceries and you were going to do the laundry too in a laundromat, which closes in an hour, and you have to be able to know, like, you have to navigate all the public spaces and common goods that are in this country, which are copious, but they differ depending on where you're at. Are you in the countryside? Are you in a city? Are you on the east? Are you on a coast? Those things matter. Everything in Minnesota closes at 2. Like, wow. I don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, to eat. So yeah, we got to cook inside, but we have to have enough electricity because we don't have fire. So we have an induction stove top. These are like things. So I think being adaptable is a learned trait. So that's something that you can practice. And then I think also the second thing I would say is, being a troubleshooter.
Oh,
You just,
yeah.
shit is going to hit the fan, and it's going
Absolutely.
to pile up, and you got to figure out, is this worth it for me to go all the way to a Ford dealership and pay that, or can I like figure this one out? All the adhesive came off. Everything that I have in this van is like tension rod and adhesives because we had a heat wave. But like annoying, you know what I mean? So you got to change that up. Double-sided Velcro. Hello. Okay. So I just think those are the two like biggest things.
Right. You were talking about, I saw one of your posts talking about things falling when you're driving, like keeping things stationary. The good dishes.
LOL. Hell yeah. That's number one. All of us that researched van life, that was number one. Like,
that was number one.
Make things not fall.
That's number one.
A lot everywhere. Inside the fridge. We have 2 benches. I put a tension rod across the benches so I could put stuff there. There's child locks on the fridge doors, on every cabinet door. That's what people do, child lock or like a latch of some sort. You have to. Things will everything fell out of our fridge on a turn. Everything flew out. Liquids, we got wood floor. Yeah, so that happened one time only before your ass learned. Right.
Believe it or not, things fall over in an RV too. The wind goes and there we go. It's like, really? I'm stationary. I shouldn't be having these issues.
Right. You can't comment.
Yeah. So what do you think? To add to what these ladies are saying, by the way, Tony Armstrong says that these ladies are very hardy, intrepid, like what you said, Pat. So yeah. What do you think, personality wise?
I think that you can have a plan, but you have to be super flexible. You have to know how to kind of think on your feet. Like you can have an idea how things are going to go, but I say probably 99% is not how it's going to go, and you have to know how to have a plan B, or kind of figure it out on the fly. So just being open to that. Also, I think just kind of having a stubbornness also, because you're going to have a lot of people tell you that you shouldn't do this, or they couldn't do this and you shouldn't either. So you have to be stubborn with what you feel you have to do for yourself in order to get through it. I mean, even when you're on the road, you still run into those things. Yeah,
that's good. I'm still like, I can see those traits in myself, but I'm still like, okay, and for very specific reasons. So we have a couple questions from Asan Taylor. Welcome on the production side, and she's here and she lives for the conversations. She says, "Do you all have access to RV lots as well in the vans?"
Like
yeah, can you access? Yeah.
Pat, you go.
My RV is actually on a property, on a friend of mine's. I'm parked on his property. I do have access to an RV park if I should ever want to do that. But my goal for this RV is not to continuously live in it. I'm building a container house. So the whole purpose of me building this whole container community is to be able to provide safe parking as part of my community for people who are in van life. I know what it felt like when I was stealth camping and not having, until I got that safe parking where everything settled down for me and it made it feel like I wasn't homeless per se, because that's something you have to get over. People thinking you're homeless because you're there. They think it's something you would choose. So the whole reason for me doing it was not to go park in an RV park and pay RV fees. I wanted to save money so I have an opportunity to build this small community where I can offer parking to women and people who come through who need safe parking, because I needed it. So because I had it, I know what that felt like and how you feel so much better and rest so much better when you know you are safely parked.
Yep.
Indeed. Indeed. Anyone else?
The quality of sleep when you're parked on a place that you're allowed to be and people know you're there versus Walmart is shocking. Okay.
It's so different. Oh my goodness.
Wow, two different spectrums. So my answer is yes and no to having access. Yes, I have access. So we all do. Walmart, because if I'm not mistaken, the CEO of Walmart had a vagabond daughter and always wanted a place for her to park. So he allows oftentimes, his stores allow oftentimes people that sleep in their cars or whatever else to park there. If you want, you can call ahead, the manager, what have you. Cracker Barrel, sometimes Planet Fitness, like there are public places you can park. So we have access to those. Not multiple nights in a row, you know, don't be obvious. Then there's campgrounds. I give that face because it's luxurious when I go. So I don't go often because it can be pricey, right? Like it can be expensive.
What's pricey? What is that? What does that cost like?
So for me, pricey would probably be $30 or more a night. And that's because I don't otherwise have to spend. I don't otherwise have to spend that. So if it's like I'm gonna park for free versus paying, unless at that campground I get hot water for a shower and laundromat, and I could get gas and electric and everything I want at my little site, that's worth it. I would pay more for that. But if I get like nothing, I'm not talking to anybody. What am I gonna do here? So no, I'm good. But there are a lot of apps which are excellent. Boondockers Welcome, which would be for a place like Pat to put up your land inevitably, or like Heather's friend to put up their land, where you are a person with a house or land and people can park on your property and it's okay. And they can put up their chairs outside and they can be themselves. Okay, that's fine. There's Harvest Hosts, which I use a lot. Those are wineries and theme parks and breweries around the U.S. that allow you to park for free on their property. A night, 2 nights max. So there are things like this. Everything comes with a cost. So you're going to start looking and be like, which of these am I actually going to use? I spent too much money on these apps and now I realize which ones I use, which are.
Okay. So you have to pay a small fee, but they'll guide
worth
you
it.
to.
Well,
okay.
So I think it's worth it. One night of, Walmart, one night at a campsite versus a year of parking on orchards around the U.S. Goodbye. There's no comparison.
No comparison at all, for sure. Any thoughts to this, Heather, or can we talk about the financial benefit to van life? So Carl Bailey wants to know, is there a financial benefit to van life versus traditional housing?
Well, that's part of it. Just piggybacking off of this, well, we don't have to pay for a nightly rate or pay for rent if we're living in our vehicles. So you save in that way. And then what I do is I can save that money, and then if I want to splurge on something else, like I can sleep in Cracker Barrel at night, but I can go have a steak dinner across town somewhere else. So this is a trade-off on.
It's a trade-off.
It opens you up to being able to experience other things besides paying for that huge rent or the RV parking lots or.
True. Yeah, our RV parking could be extremely expensive, and so by being on my friend's property, I don't have that cost. So for me, it's very beneficial because it's allowing me the opportunity to buy land and build a homestead and do some other things that I would not have had the opportunity had I not chosen this. But of course, everything comes with a judgment, and I don't care about that because judgments are just that they're free and somebody else's opinion about your life. So does it really matter? No, it does not.
Got it. And you mentioned the term, people think you're homeless. What would you say when people ask you, where do you live? Everybody wants to know, where do you live? What side of town do you live on? What's your address? Like our identities are so attached to our address. So what would you say? Is it van dweller? How do you describe your situation?
I'll leave that to the ladies.
I haven't been actually broached about the homelessness factor. I think everybody in my life thinks this is very normal for me. So I would otherwise say houseless, but like, I don't know, I'm like vagabonding. I live in my van. I don't tell people in the world, however, like obviously
Yeah.
I'm in the parking lot, you know what I mean? It doesn't look like I live in it. There are no windows. So I did almost have a situation on a work site where a guy had spoken to me one day. I was like a local, and then he was there the following 3 or 4 days in succession and never where D saw. So, and he'd always find me and wave and like want to talk, and knew that I was like living on the premises somewhere. So that was a moment where I was glad that I had D, and I was like, look, I'm not interested in this man who's like following me low key. So can we park elsewhere now? And that's the beauty. I think I want to go back to Carl's question about financial benefit. This may not be a financial benefit, but it's a benefit that if I feel uncomfortable, I leave, and my whole house is with me too. So I'm always comfortable. I always get comfortable. I'm not stuck anywhere. But the financial benefit, I think it depends on what you think is a financial benefit. To me, until I want to invest in a home and like have equity and like have a purpose in that way, I don't want to rent anymore. I'm also from like the New York, New Jersey renting world, which sucks. So nah. And I'll keep it a trillion. Like this is the most expensive thing I've ever bought in my life. And I went at it halfway. Like my parents gave me half. So I pay them every month. So I pay them rent, but but I think that that's worth it. So I just wanted to keep it 1,000.
Shout out to Pat and Sam.
You know what I'm saying? Who are gonna visit me. They're driving from New Jersey to Denver next week.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, Heather, what would you add to this?
We're talking about the financial benefits still, right?
Yeah, the financial benefits, because you're coming from the corporate space and all of that kind of stuff. You're an entrepreneur. Yeah. How is this benefiting you?
Yeah. So one thing I like about it is that I'm able to go all across this country and not have to worry about the lodging and that kind of thing. Like I can do a lot more things just being able to go drive there in my van and see it and park in the outside on the street while I'm waiting for the attraction to open up. I can do that a lot more with this kind of flexibility. And then, I have a savings, so I don't have to dip into that savings. I'm still earning income on the road, so I can keep that savings. So then when I don't, if I want to sit down and not do anything, I still have that cushion there because I'm not spending a lot of the money that I've got put aside.
That's awesome.
So I can still think long term, but still be able to enjoy life right now while I'm in my younger years. I say I'm still 40, 46.
And all y'all look amazing. So it's just like, I'm looking at this. Nobody on here, not to even throw out the term homeless, but y'all don't even look like you live in the van. You're not looking homeless and crazy. Hair is together. Y'all look together. Skin is popping and glowing.
Those are decisions that you have to make daily. Because when I got into the stealth camping mode, one of the things I wanted to make sure that I did was, one, to eat well and not fall into the Taco Bell fast food thing, to not do that, and drink plenty of water and rest. I wanted to sleep. I was alone a lot of time. So it gave me time to really think about my life. I became very introspective. I think Heather may have said that, or maybe Vic said about you become very introspective when you're by yourself. So it gave me a chance to clarify what I wanted to do for myself. And to find out some things about myself. I learned a lot about myself in just this whole thing. So you're by yourself. It gives you time to just really think.
Has it changed any of you in other ways? Like you said, from the introspection, that was Vicky that said that she's a glutton for the introspection and things like that. So yeah, what does that look like from the internal spiritual growth, whatever you're your practice is. So the inside work, what does that look like for you ladies?
I think I'm less judgmental. I'm less judgmental of people. I'm just less judgmental of their situation. I think I am more aware of when someone actually is homeless and what being nomadic feels like when you see a homeless person and they're continuing to walk, 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 and people wonder why they're walking because they have to be on the move. And when I was still camping, the first couple of months I was on the move, and it felt a little bit erratic at first, but I always had safe places to go. I had two people that knew what I was doing, and so I had these respites. I had these places where I could rest and really gather myself. So I think I understood homelessness from a different vantage point, but although I didn't necessarily feel homeless, I felt what Vicky said, addressless.
Yeah.
But I had a P.O. box, girl. I had a P.O. box. And I'm proud of my P.O. box.
Yeah, I'd say I just being by I'm by myself in my van, and I love being by myself, an introvert to my core. But it does allow me to understand really what I want, what I need in life, and not necessarily have to hear, or see other things that would affect me, make decisions based on somebody else's needs or anything like that. So I just think that it's a way to really understand yourself, and just kind of figure that out, and you'll learn some things about it.
That's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You will learn some things.
Mm-hmm.
I think you will learn some things.
I think that everything happens at the time at which it's supposed to, and I have to say, being in a relationship that started pre-van life and is continuing, it's thriving. We're moving, we're grooving, it's happening, because things could really go haywire in here. I think it worked out really well that I have someone like D. His name is Dushan. Someone like D here with me. He is the polar opposite of me. I'm a bit more anal, organized. I'm a Capricorn. Go, 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 go. I'm a bit of a erratic. I've got 1,000 ideas in my head and I want to do them all at the same time. I'm in this van, but I also want to travel to Europe now, but I'm not vaccinated either, but I'm going to find out a way to go. And D's like, nah, 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 nah. It's not even one day at a time. It's one moment at a time. Like, we're going to jack it all the way back. And I am repelled by that idea. But that has to be the way that you do this. And it forces me to, people, to slow way down and start to rethink your priority list and what being productive is in your day. If those are things that are important to you, they are for me. I come from a bit of a startup-y world. You just go, 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 go. You work way too much, way past 5 on the weekends. And I brought that into this van and I couldn't do it. I had to quit my full-time job. I couldn't handle mentally. I think I was having a breakdown, and that doesn't happen to me. So it was happening to me, and it's been very difficult. I don't know, how other people are handling in social media. You see one side, there's always another side, but that's the side you really don't know nothing about. So you often think that you're in a wind tunnel by yourself, but it's hard out here when you're in your head. And that's where I wanted myself to be on purpose. So reconciling that every day is a toil.
So you're saying it's hard when you're in your head and you want it to be in your head?
I'm consistently in my head, and I intentionally chose to do this to be in there and weed things out.
And
the thing that I asked for is happening, and it is harder than I anticipated. Van life isn't me. Me with me is hard. Does that make sense?
I'm snapping. Woo.
Yeah.
Me with me is hard. That's good stuff. Definitely less distractions. And so we're going to take a quick detour because Tony is interested, Pat, in your building structure. So he said, is Pat talking about building structures with shipping containers? I've heard of that and am interested in reusing those 1 or 2, I don't know what that means, TEU containers for living space.
Absolutely. I'm building a container home on 5 acres of land. I'm dedicating a half acre to available parking for people who still camp, people who, are nomadic, who come through the city of Houston. And so part of that is land for my son's containers that I'm building. So when they're in the country and they're in the city, they can come to the property. We do anything we can to bring our children home, so if it attracts them, it's great. So yes, that's absolutely what I'm talking about.
Okay. And Asan Taylor, as we get into some more, like this conversation is going by so fast. Got so many
Right.
questions. But Asan Taylor wants to know, she says, I'm very interested in this. I'm just clueless how to start with all I do. Yeah. Oh, well, let's back up real quick. On bad weather nights, do you all utilize the hotels or tough it out? And then we're going to get into the how-tos.
I'm sorry, I have to go first because I can't. I came to the Great Lakes region, okay, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, thinking it would be cool in the summertime. Yeah, that's my East Coast ass not knowing nothing. I didn't even look at weather.com to figure it out. It's ungodly humid.
Yeah, it's humid.
Ungodly humid. We don't have windows. Our 3 big major expensive fans all broke at the same time because they were so overused, and of course everything's back ordered 2 months. Oh no, it's abysmal. So yes, went to a hotel. There was one particular night in Milwaukee, we tried to get a hotel. No place had vacancy at all. 0, nobody. I was asking Facebook groups for help. Please, anyone, give me AC. I'm falling apart here. But inevitably, you find a friggin' hotel. Okay, motel. I don't care what you're saying. But now what we're doing is we're house sitting. So we have a house sit once a month.
That's
and it's
good.
a week, it's 2 weeks, but at least we can recalibrate. Because maybe full on van life every single day is not for everybody. And it ain't for me. I'll tell you that. I'll be 100%.
Got it. Anybody else? What about the bad weather nights?
My bad weather experience has been heat as well. So I was traveling to the West Coast. That was my long-term trips recently, going to the West Coast, but I have to get through coming from Texas. So I have to go through New Mexico.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, I'm going through, I'm like, okay, it's nighttime. I don't like driving at night. So I will stop. I'm like, I'll just stop at this rest stop. We'll get up early in the morning. At midnight, it was 100 and something degrees still. And so my alternative was to keep going. I just had to start driving.
We're not stopping.
Keep driving till I drove all the way to San Diego to get to the cool weather.
Wow.
But definitely in heat. My thing so far has been, I'm just leaving. I'll just go. I was in Vegas recently. My van started just melting. Things were falling off the ceiling and everything. I'm like, well, gotta go. It's too hot here. But definitely will utilize hotels along the way. I'm on all of the apps for the cheap hotels and that, but we'll do that. I have not checked it out. No.
When I felt camp, I also heat could be sometimes a challenge, and I house sat and did all that kind of stuff as well. Quite often, to be honest with you, because I had friends that were traveling and all over places and doing a whole bunch of things. So that afforded me in the RV. Of course, I don't have that issue in the RV at all. Okay.
I was looking over here. So we lost Vicky. I don't know if it got too hot in her van. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like she went out. She was like, I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. So we're going to try to get her back. But we're going to continue the conversation. Oh, there she is. Girl, we thought the heat got you.
Girl, welcome back, Vicky.
Welcome back.
I don't know what happened. I put my AirPods in and everything went black. So I don't know.
I know. I'm like, I
Mercury
don't know.
retrograde.
You did a post about that. So yeah, the heat. So it sounds like that's the main thing. It's not necessarily rain or any of that, but it's the heat. That heat is that could
No, you
some.
can't get cool, but you can get warm when it's cold.
You can get
So
warm. You can get warm.
I'll never make this mistake again.
I can imagine. Okay, so now, let's get into the how-tos and let's address that from maybe each person. Talk about the things that when they got started that, I don't know, that you realize now from a minimalistic perspective, like the things that you can do to get started from a very minimalistic perspective that you can't live without versus the things that you thought you had to have and you didn't really need.
I'll say, okay, since I built out my van, I stripped it down. I thought about what are the things that just basically, what do I need if I didn't have anything and just had to start from scratch. So of course a bed, and you can just do that really simply with I just did a platform bed. But what I've learned as I'm traveling is organization. You have to have a place for everything, because like that's my favorite thing. I mean, my thing I say the most when I'm driving is, what was that? Because there's something falling down. So you have to have everything. You have to have everything in this place and a place for that. Really downsizing to what is. I thought I needed these different clothes and all this stuff, and I don't need. I wear maybe 3 outfits and switch it up.
Yep.
Do the laundry. I'm a dress.
Yeah, your dress game go way down.
So definitely don't need as many clothes as you need. You just need what you want, a way to be cool. You need a way to lay your head, to be comfortable. And then if you're trying to stealth park and do that kind of thing, then just some way to cover your windows, just so you can have some privacy, because it's one thing. So really just think about what you would need just from a very minimal perspective. Get in that minimalist mindset for sure.
Okay.
From my standpoint, I would tell you to go and research. Look at as many YouTube videos and look at Black people videos. I don't want to sound like the other ones don't help, but you need the perspective. You need our perspective, some Black folks' perspective on camp or being nomadic. Okay,
such as,
but as much. We have a whole different mentality. We give you the good and the bad, the downright low down. Very few of us are taking Instagram pictures with our hair blowing in the background and bikinis and
no.
The girls ain't doing it like that. They really getting down with the travel and stuff like that. I'm not being negative. But I think you need to get right perspective. And I think when you hear the reality of what it means to be nomadic and what it means to stealth camp, and then you need to go out and try it a couple of weekends before you just jump into it. Go on a camping trip. If you don't like camping, this may not be the thing for you. If you need comfort all the time, if peeing in a bottle hurts you, you might not. If it challenges you, just the idea of it, you might not want to do it.
If you can't identify the smell, there's always a smell somewhere.
And if you're afraid of everything, you might not. This may not work for you. So I would say do the research. And then figure out, like she says, the most minimal thing you need. Go on a camping trip one time and sleep in your van. Don't go to the motel. Sleep in your car.
Yeah.
See if you can make it work for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 100% dead because I have never camped. I did the online research and not the practical. Okay. I didn't do the practical. So it was a bit of a, but I looked up everything on Amazon, everybody's lists. I bought too much. I used a fraction of it. Highly recommend not doing that. Being more like D, once again. Oh, this way. He's coming out. We're going to drive. And he's like, I'm going to figure it out when I'm in the van. I'm going to figure out what I need when I'm in there. And I'm like, you amateur. Yeah, who's the amateur? It's funny. But also, to Pat's point, something that you have to look at, like, I'm biracial, so my hair is like curly like this. I could go to a white salon, I could go to a Dominican salon or a black salon, but I have a salon at home and I don't here, and my hair is not working. The water's different everywhere. I can't just like have the dandy or the Parmesan as we call it and like grab baby powder and like I can't do that. So I have to bathe often, and we go out of our way to go to Planet Fitness, and we shower every day. These van lifers that go a week, 2 weeks, several days, not me. It ain't happening. And D's there. He's not ready to be on camera, but he also has long locks, and those curls also need to be washed consistently. So like, that's a big deal. No one was talking about that. I just was watching all these van lifers online, like they could go days without bathing, and all that's fine for the bod, but like for the up top, dude, I can't. You're 100% bugging. Like, I really have to figure out what I'm gonna do with this hair, like, or I'm gonna chop it all off, and that's like a big deal. And I can't handle protective styles. I've tried them. They pull. They, these are things that aren't spoken about. I didn't know about. So that's another episode.
Right. I see you with the
but
top
that's been my
bun.
thing since I was freaking 5-year-old. When I grew hair, my mom was like, I don't know, put it up. She's blonde and blue-eyed, so I shampooed and conditioned every day until I was in college. Okay.
Yeah, you mentioned Planet Fitness. I have a Planet Fitness membership too that I can use across the country. So getting those hot showers, take advantage of that.
Bother you?
Well, you answered that question.
I had my girlfriend's showers if I just, I had places I could go.
That's my thing. How do you hit the hot spots? I'm glad y'all answered that, because I'm like, how do I shower? How do I take care of the body? Like, I'm one of those people too. Like, I need the water to hit me.
Yeah. Oh, and part of reality is you're gonna wash up sometimes in a bowl, in a basin, in your van, a quickie to get on out. But the regular, if you got some spots and some people who are there for you, when I really mean there for you, that they are there for you, and that's okay with them, then you can get that shower. You can get that shower quite often.
Okay.
Ask. That's a learning.
That's a great one.
Don't be afraid to ask anymore. Don't be too proud. Just be like, look, my situation. What is it? Can I also do my laundry?
Hey,
I forgot about that. The laundry. Yeah.
The laundromat was fine for me. I was okay with that. That was a stop.
Yeah.
That was for me, because I never had that much to do.
Look, and Vicky is currently on the move as we speak.
I'm just looking everywhere. I got this giant damn light. I'm sorry, Dee. But
No, it's on the road again. So Aslan Taylor says, I love camping, but I can't wait till the weekend is over. I'm addicted to the hot showers. LOL. Yes. Get
an RV. Look, people have showers in here. I'll tell you what, I don't know how they do it in a van. I have 45 gallons of fresh water, and that takes us, I guess, a little over like 10 days to get through washing my face, washing dishes, brushing teeth every day, twice a day, right? If I had to like bathe also with that water would last 2 days. And I'm lucky because where I work, I get water. But if you got to figure out where you're going to get water all the time, no, that won't work for you. So campgrounds have hot showers. Planet Fitness membership has a hot shower, or get an RV, ante up. They have showers.
Pet RV me, please. So then what about,
I'm much older than them. I'm probably one of the oldest nomad in terms of the still camping. That's very rare for an older person, somebody over 50. You get the millennials or 30s, maybe 40s, mostly 20s and 30s, early 40s doing what these guys are doing. And I am so extremely blessed to know them. But for me, an RV meant I could stand up, have a hot shower, cook a meal, and I needed that. That was what I was moving to from stealth camping. So it was just a privilege. It was an upgrade for me, in other words.
Okay. Real quick, what is stealth camping for people that don't even know on that level?
Stealth camping is a term for people who actually live out of a vehicle, and they do it in a manner that it's not obvious. In other words, stealth means they are like undercover camping in the city, and they're living out of their vehicle in some way, and they're on the move throughout the city. So it's a way of living that is kind of sort of undercover. That's why they call it stealth, because it's not something you want everybody to know. But it also allows you some privileges and some benefits for being able to save some money, do some things you want to do.
And what makes you obvious is solar panels on the roof, a big fan, a skylight, multiple windows, the reflectix in your front windows that cover you from the sun. Those are all obvious. That's what makes you obvious.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. Is that what you're saying? That's the best.
You don't want that if you're in the city, because cops will harass you.
You don't want that, especially if you're in a city setting. You want to be as unnoticeable as you can be. As covert, that's the right word. As covert as you can be. But it's interesting.
Okay.
It's interesting to meet people you meet.
Okay.
Like we're semi-stealth. We're not fully stealth, but it's evident that something's going on in here. You know?
Semi-stealth. What would you say, Heather? Are you fully stealth, semi?
I would say that for the most part, yes, because it's just a conversion van, so I can just park. It's not oversized or too high, so I can park most of the places that regular cars will park. The window coverings, I do have them so that I can flip it so it looks like they're not reflectix, which is the silver in the windows. So only time it's obvious is when I open up those doors and I am maybe charging my solar panel or something like that. But I'm not trying to, but I can pack it all up and it doesn't look like anything. I can just close everything up and be wherever I need to be.
Thanks to Heather, I did go camping, and I'm like Amy. I did it because I knew I was going back to my regular life after the weekend was over, and it was really cool for the moment. But it was hot. Okay, Texas heat hot. We had no shade, and thanks to Heather and her heavy Chevy, we were able to potty. There was a little makeshift dressing room area. We were able to like wash dishes, and she saved our camping life because she had things. She had a generator in there. We could charge our phones. Thank you.
Yeah, all that's necessary to get you started. You just gotta have the right attitude about it.
Indeed. So as we get ready to wrap up really quickly, so Carl Bailey says, I love the adventurous spirit of these ladies. Kudos to you all. And Robin Gibson says, you ladies are so brave. Thanks for letting me know that I am not ready.
That's it.
I feel you.
Process of deduction.
Yeah. Okay. And so what we didn't talk about, but we're going to get on off of here so you ladies can get settled and everything. Tell us really quickly about your specific vehicle. And so did you build it out yourself or did somebody else build it? And if they wanted to do this themselves, like how much would it cost to convert or build out?
Well, I'll start. I did self-convert my van. I stripped it out and built it up. Of course, it can vary how much you spend on a conversion. But I'd say you can do as low as $300. You can throw a futon in there and a little bucket for you to go to the restroom, but then you can go the other way. I probably spent about $3,500 on mine, but that includes a solar panel, a solar battery that charges up so I can have electricity in there. The wood was getting expensive again, so wood, just purchasing that for cabinets and that kind of thing. But yeah, so I have a bed, I have a sink with both with the running water in there, with cabinet and storage, and then the solar power.
Okay.
Look,
Vicky, what about this good old Sprinter?
I have a diesel Ford Transit. It's a so it's like a Ford front with a box back, and I'm the third owner. So I did not make it myself. It was made in Canada, and I bought it off a guy in Charlotte, North Carolina, last August, for quite a pretty penny, 48,000, and it is got everything. We have a composting toilet, we have a full-size fridge, we have a king-size bed, we have a hallway. We both can work on our computers in here, stand, we got bench, we got 45 gallons of water, and 5 gallons of gray water, I think. So we have quite a bit. Diesel's pretty good. But we are at Ford kind of often. And it's a 2015 Ford, and it's lit.
Okay.
And his name is Moby Dick.
Hey. Taylor says, "Oh, Vic has a whole house on wheels. Love it."
Right. Right. That's why this was a whole expensive joint. Right. Paying that off.
You're like, in terms of buying a home, you've bought a home. A small home.
That's honestly how I see it. Yeah.
A
I don't have
mobile
any
home.
other thing. I own nothing else. We've sold everything else we own.
Right. A mobile home. And she also says, "Thank you all for being so transparent. We need van tours on the next session."
Oh, right. Yes.
We did not do the van tours. That is true. If you all, have
in the
to,
sunlight.
do a check-in with you all. If you have something that we can post, a nice little van tour, we can post that and attach that. But I think this has been great. And I think maybe Pat is gone. She has not come back. So I think maybe her phone has said good night.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. So is there, one person asked this, what about icy roads? We didn't even think about that. Has anybody been in the winter? Not yet.
Hell,
No.
Nizzy. No, that's why everybody goes down Arizona. Everybody goes south. And if you
Okay.
don't, I don't know. God bless you. I don't know how you do it. We have a diesel heater, and I can barely handle it in 60 degrees at night. So I can't imagine ice on the road. I don't know.
In the rain.
No idea. Rain's fine. We've had 2 maybe really scary Midwest thunder, lightning, rain, torrential at night storms. We pull to the shoulder. I ain't playing with that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, just wait till
Welcome.
it's safe.
Look, welcome back. You came back just in time as we get ready to jump off. So did you build your van yourself, Pat, or did you convert it yourself? I know, but I want the people to know.
Initially, can you hear me?
Yeah, you said RV. I'm sorry.
Initially, when I started out, I did do my Suburban, and so I did not spend a lot of money on it because my goal was an RV. And so once I got the RV, I actually got a 1978 Winnebago that I completely
The OG.
gutted and redid. I went to school on it. I went to school on it. Every interior design trick I could come up with.
Wow.
I did, and I absolutely love it. It was definitely a challenge, but I did it in phases because my initial phase was I was wearing myself out, and so with some wisdom, I knew I needed to make it sleepable and not make it perfect in the beginning. And I think that's the challenge of being going nomadic, is you try to do what you see everybody else doing. And the key is to make it sleepable first and then make it livable after that. Once you make it sleepable and then figure out how you're going to live in it, then you're going to have a better time at living in it. And so your challenges won't be so much, instead of following everybody else's rules, determine what you need and then go from there. Make it sleepable, the most comfortable sleep that you can get. Living won't be
Absolutely.
an issue. So I did build it out. It did take some money. It was over, $10,000, but it was okay. I'm in an RV.
There you go. So it can be $3,500,
All the way up.
$10,000, or 48,000. You decide. You
Way,
decide.
way
You start your
more.
journey.
People spend 150,000 on a Sprinter.
Mm.
Why?
They really go. They go in. Why? I don't know
They go
why.
all
That's
out.
real too small. That's too small for that much.
Woo. Okay, so as we get ready to get out of here, like for real this time, I'm interested,
Hello.
right? And I have other questions. Is there something that I didn't ask because I just don't know that you ladies feel people need to know and understand about this lifestyle? Your parting words.
My parting words. My parting words is that if you want to get into this lifestyle, you don't have to commit 100% to it. You can be in a van just on the weekends. You can have a house and park your van in the backyard and go out there and camp in it, okay, on your own property. You can live in this thing full time and own nothing else like myself. You can make it whatever it is you want. Don't be so swayed by people on social media telling you that they do only one thing, because everybody does something unique and different. And
Yeah.
they're not maybe saying the whole story.
My parting word would be: you can have a life and have van life. You can live. You don't have to be stuck in a mode or in a rut or be afraid to do it. You can live. You can have a life. You can have a good life, and you can experience some wonderful people like these ladies. And you can do it. I want my son to do it.
Right.
I
So
want
I
my
might
young
have
man to try.
Okay, I might have to just like live with y'all for the weekend. Can I come stay with y'all for the weekend or something? That's about all I got.
Yes, we have room for another bed.
Hey, but for a weekend though,
Hey.
like only a weekend. I'm gonna specify.
Yeah.
Listen,
You don't have to
Hey,
worry
one
about me
night.
homesteading.
to be honest with you, I would have taken my self living over living with people. I was just over living with people, so I was glad to still camp.
Okay, good deal. All right, parting words from being Heather Renee.
Yeah, I'm gonna same as Vic. I mean, we just do it the way that you want to do it. Like I said, I'm in my van sometimes. Sometimes I want to be in a nice hotel. I'll drive to the hotel and park my van in the parking lot and sleep there in the hotel for 2 nights. Just do it exactly how you want to. I wear dresses. I dress up. I put on lipstick.
Yes.
So you don't have to be roughing it out there and hiking every day.
Yep.
I'm not a hiker.
We love you, brother.
Correct.
So do it
Correct.
your way, make it your way, and that's where you can really live. Is just to kind of design it exactly how you want it.
Got it. So what I translate that into, you don't have to be musty to live in the van.
Yeah. Correct.
Correct.
We
Got
smell good
it.
out here.
You smell good, you look cute, and you're living well, and you're
Right.
eating, and you're enjoying life, and you are really defining freedom for yourselves. And I admire each of you ladies for different reasons. And I'm so glad we were able to have this conversation. You can find them on social media. Heather being Heather Renee, and Vicky is Adventures of V, and she has her, go ahead, adventuresofv.com, and then she also has, she's dark over there.
IG. I'm here. I'm just in the dark now because B's trying to park. Sorry.
It's okay. Adventures of V everywhere. You're adventuresofv.com, Adventures of V on Instagram, and then being Heather Renee. Heather is coming with her, right? Your YouTube, but for now you can find all of her videos on her Instagram. And then you have Pat is on Art Patricia Shop on Instagram, so you can find her, and also for interior design. These ladies all have something that they do, and so go check them out. And I thank you all. And so I started this platform because I wanted to have conversations to inspire change. We can choose to create or destroy with our words. We choose to create here on the Speak It platform. And you ladies are creating something that is very beautiful for you. You're doing the inside work, and in the West African term, like in that spirit of the Ashe, speak it, go out and share this episode, share with someone, be a light. And until next time, kisses,
Thank
hugs, and
you.
all of that good stuff. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.